Hi folks, Sylvia here. Today I've just been asked by my team to let Anthony and I bring in a little chat on the subject of love. So hello Anthony. Yes.
Hi, Sylvia.
So Anthony is responsible for all these beautiful visuals that you see with my channeling work. So it's really beautiful to be working with him. And of course we love it when you like it, and I'm really enjoying the messages you leave. So thank you very much. So I'm not quite sure who's asking the questions, who's going to be answering the questions, but I'll just tune in and we will see. Yeah, what's coming in. Okay, thank you. Just going to pull that music out for a moment. It is I, Mary Magdalene, come to answer your questions today that you have for us. There may be others alongside me here. I have the Yeshua and, of course, the Mother Mary, and we will do our best to answer the questions that you have for us. Greetings, Anthony. And shall we begin?
Yes. Um, the topic I think you wanted to talk about, and I think quite an apt one, is what is love actually? So you have a love for your partner, a love for children, a love for your parents, a love for friends and family, a love for country and planet as well. So this is an emotional frequency type energy. Can you explain a bit about this?
Well, of course, love is a current. Love is to the human as the breath is. It is your divine template is designed to be a carrier and receiver and emitter of this essential energy of life force in its form of love. It does, of course, require of each individual to go through the doorway, the portal, the transfiguration that occurs when the heart is relieved of its past burdens and its past imprisonment and its past conditioning, and is free to come online. And this is what is currently happening on planet Earth, dear Anthony, which is why we thought this dialogue would be useful today, because people are not always understanding when things that they thought were dear to their hearts are falling away. And individuals are thinking, well, who am I without that? But as we have discussed many times, the human is not what they own or what they wear or what they buy or their job or their persona or their status. The essence of the human actually does reside as a very deep frequency within the heart itself. And of course, as each of you aligns to the energy of unity that is awakened once the heart is awakened, this is the point where all the ancient stories of we are one, which are carried by the indigenous knowings, but also throughout religious texts, these core truths of existence on planet Earth, of all souls are connected, they are one heartbeat. And this is not just on planet Earth, this is actually through the galaxy. And these love then becomes one of the truths, one of the factual aspects of existence. we hear, you were saying to us earlier that science has not acknowledged love, but of course, in the energetic world, in the energetic field, love is a tangible reality which people feel and identify with. We may have gone slightly off track, but ask
No,
again what we
fine.
start. Yes.
No, 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 no. It was interesting because I actually missed on one of the things is a love for material assets, which is a strong driver that I think that's happening a lot in now, which people forsake for other things, which is crazy, really. Also, love is an energy, a force that holds all the elements together.
Mm.
It's the primary source, the energy.
Well, of course it does. It lives in the point of origin, doesn't it? It is really, love is the point of creation, as you know it. Source energy cannot create without a passion for their task, without love of creation. Creation and love are synonymous, are they not? So creation can come from darkness. We have seen that. That is evidenced in the history of your planet. It's not to say that creation cannot be fully usurped and used for the dark in just as imaginative ways as for the light. But in its pure essence, love does lead to a certain strand of creation, shall we say. And what differentiates this from creation which is used for the negative is, of course, the fact that creation, when linked to love, is going to lead to propagation and seeding and sowing and growing and expansion into the light. It is going to lead to an organic truth in the lives of human beings. It is going to lead to a grounding of self, a acknowledgement of self, a love of self, an honouring of self, and all of these things in turn leading to love of others. When the creative spark is linked to the negative, we know that many of the dark beings on your planet have not had the ability to create, have not had the ability to propagate from love. They can invent things and manufacture them and create them according to others' templates, but the divine spark, which is creation, love and essence, at its core is the true conscience of the organic timeline. And we know that with the big discussion, we will not talk about it today, it is not the theme about the AI, and it is about the question of how much do you on planet Earth embrace these new technologies. And of course, the only rule we would suggest is that at all times the sovereignty must be within you, and your sovereignty must be linked to your organic template. And if you can find a way to communicate and use the skills of AI within that, then you will retain balance. At the point at which you surrender to it, defer to it, share with it your divine essence, then it has great potential to become a force over you, or a force which seduces you away from your sovereignty. And so this love of self becomes a very, very strong dynamic at this point, does it not? I choose to retain my organic self, my love of my essence. And of course, in response to what you said, love of essence is not the same as the love for material wealth. With the frequencies currently coming onto planet Earth, we notice that there is a great lightening in people's need for attachment to things, to job, to work in the old way. Do you not find this, Anthony?
Yes, yes, very much so. Mm. And it sort of flows on. I think you touched on it a little bit before, where you said our scientists cannot explain or measure or devise experiments to prove or test love. I think I could be totally wrong there. So officially, they do not acknowledge it, but they also realize it's truthful, as we all have experienced it in some form or another. Will scientists be able to prove and test this in time?
Yes, well, yes. I mean, it is a knowledge of the ether, is it not? Knowledge of the etheric,
Mm,
knowledge of the higher frequency
mm,
realms. I mean, once the planet is into the 5D, and of course to the upper realms, the sixth, seventh dimensions, these are, yes, they are energy streams which are observable and quantifiable. Whether or not one would want to do this is another question. But yes, these higher strands of understanding, energetic currents, and in particular the fact that what has simply been called love, for example, and which in the past, as you say, may be associated with nice shots of, little children cuddling their fuzzy animals, and you know beloveds gazing at each other in the eyes, and all these generalities about love, all which are true, but can tend to the sentimental and can be used by the material forces, can they not?
mm,
So, what you are moving into now on your planet is a much greater refinement of that which is called love. And ultimately, it is leading to a strand of self knowing and the unwrapping and opening of that which perhaps could be called pure cognizance, in the sense that the self is beginning to recognize their sovereign self. And as they recognize this soul essence, as they journey, as they do the inner work to bring all these fragments of self back into wholeness, there is, of course, a great love and appreciation of great fragment, every wounded aspect, any ancestral aspect, any galactic aspect that is brought back into the bosom of the soul, as it were. Um, Not that we know if soul really has a bosom in that sense, but I am divine feminine, so yes, I will claim that. But yes, so all these frequencies coming back in, there is great gratitude, there is great homecoming, there is great appreciation, and there is a great strengthening in the core of self. All of these aspects fit under the category of love, because they are leading to a higher vibratory claiming of that which is the essence, the truth of the individual. And it is this vibration which allows each and every person on this planet to magnetize and send out from their essence their highest and most expanded thoughts and visions and frequencies, which again are love in action.
mm.
So love, in one sense, has a much broader scope than perhaps has been understood before. It is not just a sentimental package. The Dark Ones chose to package it like this so that humankind would not realize the huge power that is actually available to you within this act of self-love and self-sovereignty. Because it is true that one cannot move fully into self-sovereignty without passing through the portal of self-love, self-acknowledgement, self-forgiveness, self-love. And so, yes, we will pause.
Mm. Yeah,
Mhm.
interesting. Love and conscious. Can you explain the difference, or basically are they the one and the same thing?
Well, this is what we were feeling within this one's thinking as we were tuning in before. Uh, there's one of her teachers who talks of a conscience, the different role of conscience. And this links into the idea of truth, what is true, what is not, and this links into the idea of personal truth. And some people say there is no truth. But when people say there is no definitive truth, would be one of the arguments that's out there, we feel, in certain strands of beings on Earth. And that is because it is clearly apparent that there is a personal, that the thing called conscience, which holds within it the idea of morality. There are three layers, as propagated, as suggested by this teacher, and one which is the personal, which is every person has their own personal truth. This is the case. And you can say, but that is the truth, whereas really what you mean is that is true to me. That is my experience has taught me that that is true for me.
Yeah.
And yes, it may be applicable to the wider truths, but at its core level, it was arrived at through the journey of the self. The next level is the conscience of the, what do we call it, the culture. This can involve your, as small as your two parents, your cultural family group. This can also be expanded into the political, as you said before. What you are expected to believe in as a member of a certain culture. And indeed, you had many learnings of this in the period of the COVID, did you not? And of course, this conscience of culture has been sadly seen to be extremely corruptible because it can be suggested the dark have used this conscience of the culture to feed in certain ideas into the mainstream communications that then the cultural conscience genuinely in their hearts believes is correct, is right. And they truly believe, because they are being fed it and delivered it by people that they feel that they should respect, such as the government and these so-called authorities that run media. Well, of course, that's long been proved wrong now, hasn't it? But I'm sure
yes, very much so.
Many have awoken to this on your planet. But so we are saying that we have the personal conscience, then we have the cultural conscience, and so there are certain things that people, for example, within the within the Indian family or the Chinese community or the Slavic immigrants, or that they do this in their family, and that is correct to do that. And we bow to the ancestors in this way in our family, and we observe honor in this way in our family. And these are often very strong principles, of with very good intentions. But of course, ultimately for the individual, they can become potentially quite imprisoning. It's the same thing with the culture of religion. I mean, religion is simply a culture. And it says, yes, these are the rules. And if you abide by that, then, of course, eventually the individual who may be moving through layers of spiritual epiphany may get to a point one day where they go, I cannot resonate within this culture anymore. And this is the point that we have discussed with you in our past discussions, Anthony, in past months. This is the point of the breakthrough spiritual transmutation, shall we say, when the individual finds the gateway and goes, I see, none of these are truly me. My personal truth, it gets me by here and here, but it's sort of limiting because that person said that, and I also agreed with that. So, and then you widen to the culture, and then you go, yeah, this is this has limitations in it. There are flaws here. This is not serving every person on the planet. It seems to only be serving my group. And when you move beyond the need, the material need, the moral need, the righteous need, all of these labels for these needs, any need of any human anywhere on the planet to go, my group is the one that knows the truth. Of course, this must be a limitation, must it not? So then when that ceases to involve the heart, and actually the heart of the human does truly begin to activate at this point. So they move beyond the mind control and the mind patterning of the group culture into the personal autonomy which comes from the personal activation of the heart, and says, who am I really? What do I love? What calls me? And I see it calls that person in that way. So I must dance now with this person's truth so that we can remain and become community. And this then leads, as you can see, to this heart grid all around the planet, which we present to you as, what we would call a universal conscience. And that universal conscience is very close to what we would describe as a divine truth. And ultimately, the laws or the facts of this very expanded truth, these are very simple. These are very simple. And this is almost like, to love, and to love thy neighbor, and to, yes, not to respect your elders. These are, when these would be broken down, these would be things that you would find a majority of human beings on the planet would actually probably agree to. And this is where the universal conscience comes into play. And love, the energy of the heart, is the carrier of this conscience. The heart has to move beyond its self-interest into its compassion center, which is the energy of the high heart. And there in that flowering magenta rose frequency of the high heart, then the heart does become directly linked to the universal conscience. And this is where the much used and abused word on your planet in recent years, discernment, comes in. Yes.
Fabulous. I think you've covered off a lot of. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about on this topic?
Well, we just wanted to touch on today, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
So, is that fine for our time? Yes.
That's fine for your time. It's perfect.
Beautiful. Thank you. And we send you all beloveds. It is I, Mary Magdalene, and please know that my love is always with you. It is in you. It is available to embrace you within my rose, within the rose of my divine essence, my divine heart. I am the calling of the divine feminine within your being, and I am always here for you. Much love, dear ones. We will meet again. Beautiful. Oh, she's such a lovely energy. Yeah, so light and strong at the same time. It's beautiful. So that was great, and thanks for that little chat. And I enjoy the chats. And thanks everybody for listening. We so appreciate you tuning into the channel. And as we say in, what do we call it? YouTube talk. Please like and subscribe, and keep listening.